Welcome to another installment of the Devos. Our question for this video is, why do you think all three persons of the Trinity are important in our lives? Now, to answer this question, I kind of want to go and answer with something personal. As some people may know, my wife recently had a mild stroke. So, why are all three persons of the Trinity important? Well, during the course of this issue, the blessings, the provisions, the enormity of it, the trial of it, this has brought it in stark contrast for me for what each of their importances are. So let's start with about a week and a half before she had the stroke. I ended up receiving inheritance from my grandmother who passed away a few years ago, the one I wrote the book Finally Home about. And I wasn't expecting any of this, but we received some money, and all of a sudden this tragedy strikes. And I have to take off of work for a little over a week, unpaid. So you go, okay, well, how do we account for this lost income? Well, the Lord had already provided for that lost income before we ever knew it was going to happen. He had already, through that inheritance, provided a path forward for us. So that's the Father. That's the abundant blessings of the Father. Now, for the Spirit, what ended up happening is in all these health scares nowadays, because of the medical bills involved, people start GoFundMes. And I did not want to do it myself because I knew it would happen if I started it myself. It's what did end up happening. So I was really hoping someone would start it for us. But after about a week, I did it for myself. I made it for my wife so that I would have to be the one running it. And what I knew would happen is, I have suffered from depression since I was about 13 years old, probably a little bit younger. And I know what was going to happen was eventually this situation with the stroke would become too much for me, and I would become depressed. And that is what happened. I became depressed. And what happens when you become depressed is that the brightness and abundance of your blessings dims in your own mind. And the envy and jealousy and pride and darkness becomes that much greater in you. So one thing that happened was, because of the money we had gotten before, what happens generally when I get money or have extra money is I tend to give it away. And I had donated money, and I see the same person donating to the GoFundMe, but donating a much lower amount, which, who cares? But in my depression, an evil, wicked thought creeped into my mind about, why are they donating less than I gave to them? And immediately I thought, that is wicked. It's wicked because I'm thinking bad of them, but also because I'm thinking bad of me. I'm thinking wicked thoughts about why I give at all. I don't give so someone will give it back or reciprocate or that I'll be blessed for blessing someone else. I give because the Lord blessed me. And I see it as my duty to then bless someone else to glorify Him. And that is a wicked thought when something like that comes into your mind. It's a wicked thought being whispered in by the enemy. Now, where does the Spirit come in? Well, the Spirit is the one that tells me, whoa. I don't even know why that thought came in your head, but it needs to stop, and it needs to stop now. That is a wicked thought. And to get it out of your head. So we have the Father who provided, the Spirit who guides and keeps us moving along a sanctified path. That's two persons of the Trinity. And then finally we have Christ, the one through whose shed blood I have forgiveness of that sinful, wicked, tempting thoughts that I had. Those thoughts of negativity and cruelty and wickedness towards someone I care about. I have salvation from the wages of that sin through the risen Christ. All three parts, all working at one time through one trial, and in some instances in one very moment. So, thank you for joining me for another installment of the Devos, and I shall see you again next time.